Get a load of my hat selection. I think we're live. We should be live. Looks like one CME has already impacted, and more on the way. At least one more on the way. So we may see some major stuff. We may see a big fat dud. It's been known to happen both ways. So, and that's part of what makes trying to forecast space weather interesting in the first place. But so far, the first CME impact does not look extreme at all. We're going to cover it rapidly because the Smash News Network, least busted name of news, is a little on the busy side because massive upgrades are nearly complete. Actually, we almost have a full music studio installed here. So the living room, we've reclaimed a bunch of space. We were wasting a bunch of space, and the condo in which we're located is actually 3 bedrooms, and we have not been sort of maximizing the space. So, due to various things that shall occur in 2026, the space has to be optimized. So, multiple rooms seeing major changes. And that's taken a lot of time indeed. So, a lot of time and energy, and I have the flu. So, it's always nice to have the flu and have no respiratory symptoms. I've got all the trappings of the flu that I usually get, which is low-grade fever, and brain fog. That's usually what happens. If you notice, I'm talking more slowly. Also, I typically get pharyngitis, so I've got some of that too. And I feel like garbage. Feel like utter crap. And I think I'm going to turn myself into a French fry. There we go. Now I look a little better. Yes. French fry light. It helps. So, thanks for leaving comments, those who have. As we have incoming space weather, multiple things. So, a CME impacting right now, coronal mass ejection, and another one on the way, at least one more, and a coronal hole high-speed stream right behind it. So, the coronal hole high-speed stream may come from behind and interact with the coronal mass ejections. It appears to be a higher speed. It's based on guessing. It's probably a higher speed. We don't know the speed of the coronal hole winds until they actually reach L1, which is about 1/93rd of the way to the sun. It's about 1,000,000 miles between the sun and the Earth. That's where the solar wind gets measured. Those spacecraft, they orbit Lagrangian point 1, which is between the Earth and sun, because we have to measure the solar wind outside of the Earth's magnetosphere. Put sunglasses on and a cigarette in your mouth. While I disagree with you, Thor agrees. Thor agrees wholeheartedly. So, thanks for piping up. Thanks for leaving comments, y'all. And if I look like crap, I feel like crap. So, hey, but the good news is I smell great. So, there's that. So, I'm just going to check some stats here. This isn't going to be a long stream because I'm shattered. I might sound okay, but I'm not okay. Some of us who are trained vocalists with massive lung capacities sound fine when we're not fine, because we have great control over our vocal resources. Some of us have higher lung capacity than others. Let's just say that. Yeah, I'm looking great. My ass is looking great. I look like a ghoul. I'm part ghoul and part zombie today. Like, it's... Let me do something. There we go. I can hide behind my hair a little. That's all right. So, it's... Do we have any additional CMEs on the way? I'm not sure yet. I'm finding out. So you don't have to. Damn, I really look like a ghoul today. The light is not being kind. um, there we go. That's a little better. So yeah, as far as the additional CMEs coming in, let me just check the Lascos. We did have some significant flaring, but they were limb flares essentially. So they were close enough to the limb that it is unlikely that those will be earthly directed. I think Comet Atlas is a comet. Although I did hear one weird thing about Comet Atlas, and it's that the tail is going toward the sun. And I mean, while there may be some plausible physics explanations for that don't involve alien tech, I don't really like them. I'm just going to stay vague with this because those of us who understand science know where to draw the line, right? You have to know what you don't know, to quote Donald Rumsfeld, right? Remember when Donald Rumsfeld said, "We have known knowns, we have known unknowns, and we even have unknown unknowns." Well, with the comet, we have a lot of unknowns. So the outgassing of funky chemicals, that doesn't mean it's alien tech in any way. But yeah, the tail being 180 degrees from the orientation that it ought to be at, that is weird. But if it's an ion tail, sometimes those are at a funky angle, and it could have to do with the composition, the chemical composition of the comet. So none of this stuff proves that it's extraterrestrial tech. I'm going to leave it at that. So as far as solar wind goes, we don't see major changes in the solar wind, but we have seen a sputtering connection with the Earth-facing coronal hole. So we are seeing phi angles around 180 degrees here for a minute, but it's an inconsistent coronal hole phi angle sort of a shift. And we've seen some ground-based magnetometers with some spikes on them. So if you look at Boulder Magnetometer, we shared that on Twitter, x.com/smashomash. Make sure you follow us there. If you don't, because you're going to see stuff there before here, I can't put out a live stream faster than I can send a tweet. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Let's show some... There we go. That's the past couple of hours. And eyes on this sunspot here because it's flaring right now. So there's our proton flux. Let's bring up the X-ray flux. We do have a high likelihood of proton events as well, by the way, folks, because limb flares are the most likely, Western limb flares are the most likely place to see solar energetic particle events generated from solar flaring. But we don't have any yet. But the closer it gets to the limb, the likelihood goes up a little bit because the likelihood of seeing a large flare from this setting sunspot group goes up. So this setting sunspot group right here, this is the one to watch. But we also do have an active region rising over here. This one did produce some flares. So yeah, that's what's going on. We do have additional incoming CMEs right now. Let me see if I can take a look at these fields real quick for you. So yeah, we still do have extreme magnetic shear on this sunspot group right here. This one here does have potential to produce large flares. And this new one coming over the limb looks pretty simple. So this one over here is not particularly attractive for large flares. But this one here is very attractive for large flares. This one, look at the way there's some North Pole umbre some North Pole magnetic fields just forming in the middle of that extremely white area. Let me zoom way in on that. See the way those dark fields are forming right in there? Those are South Pole oriented magnetic fields. So there is some extreme magnetic shear there. Likelihood of an X-class flare is very, very high. like 50, 60, 70%. As it approaches the limit, does become slightly more likely to produce a large flare as well, about a 4% increase in its likelihood. Let's take a look at that through the 131 angstroms, the hottest wavelength. And welcome to the hottest channel. If you're new, press the subscribe button. And look at that, we have 1 viewer and 5 likes. So yeah, congratulations on realizing the channel exists, folks. We're going to cut back to the sun here. Now I'm just going to cut this stream short because we need to rest up, because there could be mid-latitude aurora in the coming days. So that's what we're getting prepared for. That's why I'm not doing anything resembling strenuous exercise. So yeah, that's what's up. Incoming space weather, exciting. I look like a Joule, and major changes coming to the Smash News Network studio. I can show you a little bit from what's going on in the living room, because, you know, live music will be a thing that will be played on the channel. But we've got a very compact setup here. So here's the mix board, drum machine, PA, and there's my guitar. I put the keyboard in the kitchen because we are, like I said, revamping and letting the air blow through right now, because then there's the new keyboard, the Alesis Talent 6-1. Excited about making songs. That's a thing. We've already got over half a dozen concepts. And we've got a bassist and a drummer. So, exciting times. Simulcome. Check it out, simulcome.com, simulcome.com. And yeah, signing off from the kitchen portion of the downstairs studio here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news. And until you see mid-latitude aurora at your locations, may that solar wind be at your back.